Hello again, everyone. Welcome to week 2 of Draw From Home. I'm your host, Miss Dylan, and today we're going to learn a little bit about angles and perspective. So, what we're going to do today, and 4th grade, you guys are already used to this, we're going to go ahead and learn how to make gemstones. So, what I want you guys to get, just like usual, is a piece of paper. And this could be a notebook paper, it could be a sketchbook paper, printer paper, whatever. You should get a pencil, of course. And if you have one, do get a ruler. It obviously is going to help when you want to do straight lines, which is what we're going to do today. However, if you don't have one, it's not the end of the world, okay? So you don't have to have a ruler, but it'd be nice if you had one. And if you have one, get some colored stuff, so colored pencils, crayons, markers, what have you. Okay, so these are the 4 things you should need today, so go ahead and grab those. And if you need to pause the video, you can go ahead and do that. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to learn, like I said, how to do gemstones. Now these guys are not too bad to do. I'm going to show you guys some examples if you don't remember what gemstones look like for whatever reason. You know, you got amethyst, diamonds, that sort of thing. Now these guys are made of different straight lines, okay, different panels. So I'm just going to go ahead, if you guys see here, just going to outline the straight lines in this sort of aquamarine guy right here. So we have this panel here, we have this plane here. Now notice, again, everything is a straight line. Now with some of them, kind of like this guy, this is a raw chunk, or it's been polished. So not necessarily angular, but when you get a cut gem, so if I can show you another example. So here's a garnet, right up here. When people cut gems, they cut them so that they have different planes on them. So it's a straight line because they're cutting them with a knife. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and learn how to do that and make one of these. And you don't have to do, so if we go back to my example here, you don't necessarily have to do a gem that exists. You can make up your own gem. Alright, so very, very simple. All you're gonna do is make the silhouette. So remember, the silhouette is the outside shape. So a silhouette of a circle would just be a circle. Alright. Oh. So the silhouette, again, is just basically, think of it easier, sort of its shadow. Okay. So all I'm going to do is make just a random shape. I'm not going to think too hard about it. But I'm not going to add too many. Because if I add too many, it's going to look a little too cluttered. Alright. So again, straight lines. If they're not completely straight, that's totally okay. Don't worry too much about it. Alright. There we are. Now, what I always see people wanting to do is, you see, we only have a couple different sides. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight lines, okay? Now, what I always see people doing with this is going crazy and adding a billion pieces of them. And then what happens is when we do our next step, it's very, very difficult to process. Alright? Now also notice, I don't have any long triangle pieces like this one in my original sketch. So make sure that when you do this, you can have some triangles like this, so kind of point, but make sure that when you are doing this, your sides are longer. You know, you don't want really tiny ones, and you're probably asking me, well, why not? Because our next step, we're gonna go ahead and add the inside of our gem, because remember, this is just the shadows, this is sort of the outline. Alright, so what you'll do now that you have your shape, and again, feel free to pause the video if you need some time, you're going to go in at each, if you guys see here, where each of these lines connect, the corner, at each corner, what you're going to do is you're going to make a straight line going inward. Just like that. Okay, so again, here's one corner. I'm going to go ahead and highlight the corners really fast so you guys can see which ones I'm talking about. So here's a corner. Corner here, corner here, 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 here. Okay. So, what you're going to do is find your corners. And like I just mentioned, we're going to go in. I'm going to get rid of these guys so we can see underneath them. And you're going to make a straight line going inside. So, you know, the inside being all of this, of course. Inside. Now don't make them too short. Don't make them too long. Alright? So something just kind of in the middle. You know, the old Goldilocks situation. So I'm just going to go in. Inside like this. Again, I'm finding that center. So this is probably the center of my gem. And notice how each one of my lines is pointing towards that center. Alright? So pointing this way here, here. And this is where the ruler is going to come in handy, of course. But again, if you don't have one, at the end of the world. So it should look something like this. So now that we have this, it looks a little jumbled and weird. It doesn't look anything like, you know, our gems over here. We're going to go ahead and connect them. So, all you're going to do, again, pause the video if you need more time. No rush. We're going to connect them with straight lines like this. Voila! Look at that, we have a gem shape. So, just so you guys can see a little bit better, these guys are the side planes, and this one is sort of, if the gem was lying on a table and you were looking down at it, this would be the top plane. So this is this plane. So you see that? This is that part. That's the top plane there, where you're looking down on it. It's the flat plane. And these guys here are the side planes. So now that you have your gem, you can go ahead and start coloring. I'm going to go ahead and make this, let's make this an amethyst. So for the sides, I'm going to do a slightly darker color because, and I'm just going to fill them in. Obviously with you guys, you're going to have to actually color them. My digital stuff just is a little faster, and which is nice so you guys can, you know what to do quicker, so you don't have to watch me actually color each one throughout the whole video. So, but again, just like usual, no scribble coloring. You know, we're 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We know better than that by now. Okay? So we're just going to fill these in real fast. And then, because this is the top plane, the one in the center, it's going to be a little lighter because what I'm imagining is my light source. So remember, the light source is the sun shining down, right? Light source is where the light's coming from. And if it's shining right on top of my amethyst here, the center one is going to be a little lighter, okay? Because more of that light is being reflected. You do a little even lighter, okay? So something like that. And you have a gemstone. And what you can also do for people who want to do a little bit more advanced work, so a 3rd grade, if you want to finish there, that's fine. And you could do a collection of them. So you can do amethyst, you can do some red stones, and do as many different shapes as you'd like. Now for those of you who do want to try this, is go in before you start coloring. Well, no, you can do it while you color. So because if my light source is shining this way, my shadows are going to be a little bit on the darker side this way. So you can add shadows, because so if the sun's shining this way, this side of the plane of my gem is going to be a little darker than this side, because this side is where the sun's hitting it. But you guys know light source stuff by now. So you can do it like that. What you could also do is add sort of shiny glints to it. So you can go in with your lighter color, and at the edges of your corners here, you can add in sort of highlights so it looks a little brighter. So stuff like that. So you can go ahead and do that too. Or if you want to color this in a little lighter, so it's kind of shining inwards a little bit, just like that. Alright? Now again, 4th graders, we did a big project on this, so you guys should know this by now. So I'm expecting you guys to do some really cool stuff with this. Alright? And then what we could also do, so we do here. And then, so like I said, you could do a big collection of them. Oop, I need to erase that. So if I really quickly, you can do smaller ones. And again, this isn't too complicated. Yeah, you can do one like that. And then going in like this. Again, I'm not thinking too hard about it. I'm just letting my pencil just kind of move. I know some of you guys play Minecraft, so I'm sure if you want to do like Minecraft diamonds or that sort of thing, you can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do maybe a light blue here. And then of course in the middle, a little lighter, just like that. I'm just going to go ahead and complete a couple different ones, and you can layer them on top. Something like this maybe. That. Oh. Now this one's going to look a little funny because remember I told you guys about the triangles? It's going to look a little condensed, a little squished. That's okay. It doesn't have to be a perfect gem. Like that. Voila. And then let's make this one, so we got purple, we got green. Let's continue our cool colors with the last blue. Do a little bright blue than that. Oh. Yeah, something like that. I wanted that lightness. Cool. And then I can go in, do my highlights on top. Get the sort of shiny glint of the jewel going. But just make sure, if you're going to do a collection of jewels, make sure that each light source is from the same place, because otherwise it'll look a little confused. Something like that. Because you want to make sure you know where your light's shining. Okay. And of course, go slow, go slow. I'm just going fast so you guys can see sort of the end product, what that'll look like. And for the background, you don't necessarily have to do one. I know it sounds crazy coming from me, but this is more of an exercise in geometrics and shadows and highlights. Okay, and let me add some highlights to this one here too. Oops. Like that. So an easy way to do the highlights, if you haven't caught up on what I'm doing right now, is again go up the diagonal lines that you made from the corners, go down, and then go down the next diagonal. So across, down, across, down, across, down, just like that. And that gives you kind of a cool shine to it. Alright, I'm gonna sort of redo the shadows on here because I'm not quite, or highlights on here, because I'm not quite happy with those. Those don't look great to me. And feel free, if you want to, you can make a diamond shape. I know a lot of people in my 4th grade wanted to do those. Or you could make not diamond shapes, but like triangle shapes. Here, I'll show you in a second. So like if you want to do shapes like this, sort of a pillar almost, you can do that for sure. Oh. Like that, and then you can do that. And then diamond shape's a little harder. You do straight line across. You do diagonals that way. Now I'm gonna, this will be a little squished diamond because I don't want to draw over my big sphere here. And then you're gonna do diagonals that meet together like this. Do a straight line across, like that. And then you're just gonna go ahead and do lines going inward. Like that. That's not the best diamond because my gem's a little squished, but just something like that. Alright. And then real fast, I'm just gonna redo these highlights. So again, across, down, across, down, across, down. My hand's a little shaky, I apologize, so if my lines aren't perfect. It'll honestly probably be easier to color with color pencils rather than digital, because you get a little bit more control with when you're shading. This one just kind of puts down a flat color, so you can kind of control your hand a little better when you shade. How much to add, that sort of thing. Yeah, just like that. Add a little bit on the sides, but not too much, like the ones down here. I'm gonna erase this a bit. Oh. But that's it. Alright? So you can do a collection of gems, easy stuff like that. Just start thinking about different shapes you can do. Don't think too hard about the different shapes. That is it. Alright? Have some fun. Again, don't think too hard, just let your pencil move. And I would love to see anyone's examples. So when you're finished, you can take a picture, you can have your parents send it to me on Prep Connect or email. You can also do this if you do have appropriate tools. You can do this as watercolor. That's what we did in 4th grade. Watercolor really works well with these guys. But again, colored pencils, crayons are perfect too. So, have fun. I miss you guys. And I will see you later on. Bye guys.